Hi everybody, D2K here with another video review of a very nice, very inexpensive tablet from a company called Campus 111 on eBay. I was just moving along, going through eBay, not really looking for anything in particular, and this just happened to pop up. It is made by a company called iRULU, I-R-U-L-U. A typical Chinese company, just a simple rebranding coming in. What it is basically is a 10.1 inch Allwinner A20 base tablet. It has a very powerful yet very energy conserving A7 based chipset. A7, for those who do not know, are based on the A15 and work with the they're a part of the A15 chipset. One of the most powerful ones coming out of ARM these days. But the A7 actually is the power conserving chips that are used basically for when the A15 chips aren't going full throttle. In other words, if you're pausing or if you're just sitting in idle, the A7 chips kick in and save a lot of power. Not exactly the best thing in the world if you want to put them in a tablet on their own, but Allwinner wisely paired them up with a very, very nice dual-core Mali 400 chipset GPU. The GPU and its exceptional power really allowed this thing to skyrocket in terms of performance. I find that the hardware very, very, very much so makes for a very smooth experience with the preloaded Android 4.2.2 actually. What you're really getting here is a very low cost tablet. This literally costs, and I'm not kidding, $118 delivered in the US by a US company. In other words, it's not coming direct from China. It's being delivered in the U.S. by the U.S. company, Campus 111. They actually answered questions that I posed them pretty quickly. Within less than 24 hours, I always got an answer back. And it's nice to know you actually have a company you can deal with, at least via email. And if you ever have a problem, you could either return it and or, get a replacement if you need it. A lot easier and a lot better than going with the Chinese companies. But the price on this thing is what caught my eye in the first place. Then I saw the A20 chipset and said, wow, I wonder what this thing really can do. Specs-wise, it's packing quite a bit besides the A20. It's got, as the aforementioned, 10.1 inch screen, which is very, very nice. It's not an IPS screen, but it is a capacitive, and as you can see, touch sensitivity is excellent. It's requires a very, very light touch. Works really, really nice. It's 1024 by 600 res. Not the highest out there, but for just over $100, a lot better than the 800 by 480 schlock you usually see at this price point. It comes with a Play Store preloaded, Google Play. And unlike a lot of Chinese stores that tablets that preload Google Play, this is actually a pretty full one. I'm finding just about all but one of the apps that I normally use in my reviews were available to me for download, and that's something I liked very, very much. It's kind of a pleasure actually to see, as you can see, I'm actually, for how effortlessly 4.2 works on here. I move through menus very quickly. I don't have any slowdown whatsoever. The really good chipset actually allows for rather impressive gaming and movie playback. I'll show you Netflix, which downloaded again from the really full Play Store. It does take a couple of seconds to load up, but once it loads, if you have a little patience and give it a couple of seconds, it works pretty good. I think the app slows this thing down a little bit more than the actual hardware, especially when it comes to loading times. It does take a few seconds to get into anything on Netflix.
Previously on Warehouse 13. 4 regions have suffered artifact-related deaths.
Now, the 5th region.
How can my mom be a regent and not have told me?
Just like we start at the beginning. Good time, Jay. The time when the warehouse is
Doesn't slow down, doesn't stutter, works just fine. That's something that I'm always looking for on a tablet. If a tablet cannot handle Netflix and it can't handle streaming video, to me, there's really kind of no point in it. The Wi-Fi capability on this is excellent. I've gone up to 3 rooms away from my router and still had more than acceptable bars for streaming video without disconnecting and losing it. My preloaded videos worked excellently, same with music. This does have a set of stereo speakers. Unfortunately, they're put right next to each other, which wasn't too brilliant, but they're plenty loud enough for personal use. If you have a group around and you want to use it, not so much so. You might want to get some external speakers. Showing you the controls on here, which I forgot to do earlier, my apologies. You have on the top, you have your volume rocker. You have a dedicated home button, which is kind of nice to have in case you don't want to have to keep searching for the back arrow on the main screen. It has a power button. Has 2 micro USB ports, one on the go and one for hooking up say a keyboard. This does the $118 does come, I should add, with a keyboard case, a 10.1 inch keyboard case, which I thought was a very nice thing to have. Plugged in and worked effortlessly, and it's a nice thing to throw in, especially for $118. Usually you're lucky to get the tablet and not much else for that, so that was nice. You also have a headphone port, an HDMI port, which is really nice, as well as and your microSD slot, which handles an additional 32 gigabytes of RAM. This does have a full 1 gigabyte of DDR3 Ram in. Unlike, again, something that you see in this price range, most in this price range only have half that at 512K. So that's the reason why the apps are playing back as smoothly and as quickly as they are, because you have enough RAM to do it with. Getting back to the HDMI port, I love hooking this thing up to my TV and playing games. Yes, $118 tablet can do games. Not only can it do it, it does it really well. The accelerometer works well. I've used it in about a good 12 different games already, and it's pretty accurate. There were a couple of games it didn't work very well in, but then I'm finding that on just about all of my tablets that it doesn't seem to matter. I think it's more software related than hardware related in terms of how well it's going to work, if it's going to work at all. For benefits of this review, I'm going to load up a little game called TurboFly HD. It allows me to actually just touch the screen left and right in order to get it going. Let's throw a normal race on, select a track, and go. What's nice about this is the graphics look really good. It's very responsive. Really, all the games that I've played with this have worked very, very well. Not at all surprising. And yes, I have Asphalt running on this. So I've had Asphalt 6, Adrenaline 6, I've had Asphalt 7 running, I had Novo 3 running. I had it side loaded. It wasn't in the store, of course. But as you can see, it's very responsive. I simply did not have any problems with this at all. Gaming has just really, it's been a pleasure, period. Especially if you have an HDMI cable hooked up to your big screen TV. I mean, gaming on this thing is just amazing. In terms of battery life, exceptional, actually. It has a rather large 6,000 mAh battery. It does the low power settings, obviously built into the A7 chips, really come into play here, especially when, say, you're not using it. If you just want to leave it on and leave it alone. I'm only noticing about maybe a 1.5% drain on the battery when this thing with the screen off and it on. That makes, basically you can go all day with this thing without having to turn it off, which is a really nice touch. I've played up to I've had a solid 3.5 to 4 hours of gaming before I noticed the battery got down to about 20 or so percent. That is excellent, by the way. That's obviously the screen's always on. You're always using it. Everything's being used, from the accelerometer to the screen to the processors really being pushed hard. And it works. And I'm really seeing just rather amazing battery life for a $118 tablet, period. All the basics, as I've stated, work well on here. Google Plus works, YouTube works beautifully. It is a very solid, basic tablet. There's the bells and whistles. The screen, like I said, 1024 by 600. It's not great, but it's still, as I stated, worlds better than 800 by 480 that you normally get in this price range. The operating system is as good as you're going to get it. 4.2.2 is excellent. It's the best version of Jelly Bean they have. It works so smoothly and so effortlessly on here. I haven't had a single problem with it. Going online is, again, quite effortless. I have the Chrome browser loaded on here, but the stock one works just as well. Let me load up, I don't know, Amazon, just for the sake of loading up a pretty graphic-intensive site. Here we go. Loads pretty quickly. Again, this has a lot to do with the connection that you're hooked up to. I find it loads very, very smoothly. Videos do play back very quickly. The advertisements, as you can see, are loading up, and they work very, very smoothly. Again, a very smooth online experience. If going online is really what you want to do, it's so much better on a 10.1 inch screen than a 7-inch screen. It's not even funny. It really isn't. It's actually a pleasure to do it on this. Viewing angles on the screen, and not so good. As you can see, I have it in a stand here. This stand actually allows me to set it at a perfect angle for viewing while sitting on a table. The keyboard case it comes with, while it's not adjustable, also is at a perfect angle if you use the kickstand built into the back of it. You move it forward, you lose it. You move it this way, you lose it. So really, it does have a sweet spot, but at least it has a sweet spot, and it's pretty much straight on. As long as you're looking directly at it, it looks fine, and side to side, no problems at all. So not the greatest screen for viewing in the world, but the colors are very accurate. They're not very washed out. Brightness is plenty high on this. Again, a problem I've seen with a lot of sub $100 or just at $100 tablets is the brightness is horrible, and it's done more to extend battery life than anything else. I have been using this all day, and my battery's still at 63%. I'm actually, again, the battery life on this thing just so completely baffles me at this price point, because nobody I've seen has managed to get as good a battery life as this. I will put the link to this below so that you can order one yourself. It also comes without the case for about $109. But to be honest, the keyboard case actually works pretty good. Keys are pretty solid, and I managed to type out quite a bit online with it. So, in my opinion, it's kind of worth the extra $7 or $8 to get it. Did I mention that it also shipped for free? Almost forgot that part. So you're getting free shipping in the U.S. It ended up being United States Postal Service, but it was good. It arrived to me in one piece, and then within 3 to 4 days after I ordered it. Again, very good company, nice to deal with. They answered my questions. I sent several email questions just to test them and see if they were any good, and if they would answer me, and they did. And they didn't sound like they were complete idiots after they did so, which is also a nice touch. So here it is. In a nutshell, this is the iRULU. It is an A20, an Allwinner A20 based 10.1 inch tab with a really big 6000 mAh battery that lasts a very, very long time. A decent, if not spectacular screen, but again, above average in its price class. All the apps work beautifully. Gaming is excellent. The ability to hook it up via the HDMI port to a TV, it also is a really, really nice touch. Altogether, I found this to be a very, very pleasant surprise. I just wanted to see if you can make a 10.1 inch tablet at that price point and actually have it work, much less work good. And again, I'm very impressed with this, and I'm impressed with the service I got from the company I bought it from. Could not more highly recommend buying this one. If you have any questions at all, just ask below. I'll answer to the best of my ability. Thanks for watching.